There we go. Yeah, so to be official, whoever, if some arbitrary victory, whoever loses, they have to pick a game for King Dolce to, you know, play through, and it's got to be a
Okay.
fighting game, and it's got to be an arcade mode.
Okay. All right. All right.
I don't see you unaway though, so I'm gonna unaway, and then you just challenge me before sociopaths do.
Okay. I see. Okay. Here we go. Challenge.
See, the maniac got to me. Like,
Instantly.
oh my god, it's oh, there. Let's see. It's been a while since I played Super Turbo, but I'm not.
Oh, same.
But I'm not making excuses. Like, this is my competitive game for a while.
Okay. Played in a few tournaments, but it's not like great or anything.
And that's what I've learned.
Oh shit.
And this is how slop is created. That stuff you ate in the cafeteria was produced in arcades.
True. Shit.
Stop it.
Nice.
Stop kicking me. Yeah, I just found myself playing fighting games again. We should probably play that rebalance of this game. I'm kind of interested in all the changes.
I heard about that, yeah.
Ew. Hey. Okay. Oh god. Oh yeah, she's not safe after that corner throw. I gotta remember that.
Oh.
Hold on. I had to answer that. Every pump fake looks like you're like trying to teabag the person. How dare you, shimmy? Okay. Okay.
Oh shit. That's a lot of damage.
It's ST.
Yeah, true.
I main DJ, but I've played this game to a point where I have mostly some dumb gimmick with all the characters, some more solid than others. But yeah, he doesn't have a roll. I forgot. Yay, I'm alive!
No!
Why are you putting both hands in? It's not cool. Oh, you're just built super weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw Bloodtooth's tutorial.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Top speed. Why? I saw that. I know what that is. That's the you need to reversal and kill yourself move. I know that. You're on fire.
I was gonna throw you. It's pretty good. Could try Balrog. Kinda.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm
not like. It's been a while since I played Balrog. I always had trouble with Fireball characters with Balrog.
It's like he dominates them, but it's so technical. So it's like
yeah. Headbutt you.
Sack throw.
No.
I can already taste the salt that he produces. He's like a Morton's factory. Oh, and I eat the whole thing. It's great. Did you know he's considered grounded there? No.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna say that it was the trivia that got you there. That's what it was.
No, yeah.
Tell your opponent things. Like, did you know that it's like 6 frames and the variable delay makes it 12? What? What is that? I just made that up. Oh, it's beginning to believe.
Fuck.
Gas is safe jump, and I learned that darkness because of this character. Woo! Oh god. Stronger. My leg, he punched it. Why?
Punch a shin.
Why would you punch my leg?
You don't punch a man's leg. It's not done.
Conditioning.
Damn.
Safe jump. Medium kick. I was trying to throw you in the opposite direction. Like, I'm gonna be a genius. I'll get more turns.
Oh, yeah. Jamaica.
Or Jacob. Get out of my head.
Nice.
I'm the CPU now. Just do another one, but increase the strength.
Yeah. He's probably gonna try to punish it. Nice.
It's good. That low rush is plus 10. That's what block is.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they were thinking with that one.
I'm okay with special moves in this game. It's just that everything is super tuned. And the guy that did the rebalance had a really good point about how like you can pretend like you could just make characters stronger, but there's gonna hit a point where like some degenerate's gonna raise to the top, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Right.
I empty jumped Alpha 3.
I saw that, yeah. That's a little weird.
No, it's not weird. That's what's supposed to happen. It's in this game. The fireball zoning is good.
True.
It's like when you throw a fireball, it's not something for beginners to like have to see as a nuisance. It's a genuine strategy. I'm never gonna DP you that. Should have supered like that as I say it. I invoke. Oh, you called? No. Ray. Ooh, okay. I want to. Yes, throw his beaks off. Oh, you zigged when you should have zagged. What?
Oh shit.
You gotta test it.
Yeah.
I didn't have to, I was expecting that to build enough meter. Ow.
Oh fuck.
You didn't have enough life to say an SF5.
Yeah. Probably should have realized that.
I'm glad you didn't say you play Third Strike, because I don't. And I'm like, man, spish. Actually, I'm okay with that game. It's just, don't.
I'm okay with it too. I'm not good at it at all, but I like it.
I'm just like, don't ask me to have skill like that.
Exactly, yeah. Oops, look at that. Got it. Fuck.
Oh, my leg. Oh, that's not a top spin. You see that DP, but I'm not good at cross-cutting.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, yeah!
You can't... Oh my god. Nice.
You could super there, Eric. One of these days. That's his thing. You jump fierce and then the enemy hates you. He's like, what? I can't run. Majeka. Oh, what? That was a... You can see the inner genius of my Ken right now.
No, yeah.
It's like, no.
I see it.
Don't say that.
Oh god, that's not good.
What?
Okay. Backwards fierce is fine, that's fine.
Man, that was the floatiest, like, bank error in your favor, Monopoly-ass Tatsu. Everyone's going to the opera because you convinced them to. Like, why would you do this? I don't know.
Oh my god.
That is the ST special.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like you should be able to counter the firewall there, but it's a good move, so you cannot.
Oops.
Oh no, this is knocked down! Wait. Just hold it. Yeah, the god of the fucking bucktooth tutorial video. Wow.
Yeah.
Not supposed to do that. Reversal Hadouken, you see that shit. You didn't even think
I was like, is it? I know. I was like, I'm gonna let him try to DP. Oh shit.
Like they just throw a rock at you from across the room.
It's like, nah, yeah.
No. Stop it. Build a meter. I don't know what for, but I gotta have it. Ah, Serlin, goddamn you!
Damn you, Serlin.
He didn't even touch this game and he's cursed it. Oh, God. Okay. The Tatsu. You've been practicing that. That's not something like most people let the body fall.
I mean, I don't know. I've been practicing. It's all just...
Yeah, believe me. I met Bucktooth at one Evo, and it was just this is kind of funny. He's like, I was high when I made that, and then he was the fight designer behind. Why would you do that? Why? Just
I don't know. I thought it would reach.
You did reach my fist.
Well, yeah.
Yes. No. Stop it. He was like, yeah, I was high. And then now I find out he works on Killer Instinct, which apparently is not as fun anymore because they patched it to death.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. I mean, my only knowledge of it is like through third-hand accounts of Suffering, but then you could say the same of like Injustice or something.
Right.
Like what?
That's entirely too much invincibility for a DP.
No.
My humble opinion.
It is the perfect amount of invincibility.
Oops.
Ah, you refrigerator-shaped woman! You rectangle! You
just a bunch of
trapezoid! You
hitboxes.
shape! Yes, you hit sphere. Oh, one of these is gonna be a Tatsu. No.
Nice.
What? Oh no. You know what that was? Okay. Walk behind it.
No.
My friend played at Tournament of Legends. He's like super strong. His name is Frost, and that's who I used to play with. But he definitely got a lot better like once I left the scene. But it had nothing to do with me leaving. It's just like his competition got better, and he was already better than me. But I had like tournament performance because of character matchups was a little better for me. But it doesn't matter. I kind of just like I learned a lot of the game from him. Took me a while to figure it out. I got like 5th place at like one NEC. Ooh, ooh.
I stumbled into top 8 of like an Arizona tournament for HD Remixed of this game. I kind of like, I don't know. I just like entered it and kind of did my thing with Chun-Li, and I ended up in top 8 somehow. Do the super Chun-Li, God.
I did win some Alpha 2 tournament at was like legit at like one was at Magfest, and then the other was like this Midwest tournament, Alpha Attack. But how far I've fallen.
Shit, you care?
Well, you're not so why? Man, I got hit in the back of the head, and I saw the DP come out. Yeah, I'm not saying it should win. I'm like, damn, that crosser. So cool.
Yeah. It's like it knew what I did. God. You got the jump after.
Actually, you have to hold up because you don't know how fast they'll tech, and to kind of get a ghetto form of safe jump. I think it's harder against her in the corner. That's one of the things they apparently changed in this balance. They tried to like kind of make this matchup better. So some of Ken's buttons have better hitboxes and startup, but safe jumping in particular off of knee bash, that was kind of fixed so that it was more consistent. Tech the throw. She'll throw you back. No. I knew it in your soul. I knew it. Actually, the funny thing is about this balance patch, though, is it kind of disproves... And apparently this guy had been telling Serlin this since he, like, was the planner or conceptualizing it. He was explaining that a lot of the special moves are only hard to input because the fail-safes of fighting games, like buffering, like, some characters are considered airborne. They're considered airborne during, like command normals, which adversely affected Fei Long, which is why his chicken wing is hard, but only the medium kick and hard kick versions, which subsequently are the ones you want to do the most.
Right.
So Serlin was like, oh, it's just the motion. It's like, it's not the motion. It's the fact that the thing that makes special moves fundamentally easier to do, the thing that Street Fighter 2 pioneered, it doesn't work for those characters. No. What? Look at you. You know what? It's like he'll hang himself. No. Is this your first time? What's that meme? Is this your first time at the gallows?
I don't know. I don't see that one.
Yeah. What? No. Why would you go for the corner anyway? No.
I don't know.
I'm gonna brutally critique his strategy. Oops, what?
I don't know what I was doing there. I was just like, it's a general oops.
Oh. I don't know what that was. That was oops.
Shit.
That's the thing I curse teabagging for. It's like, I can't do quarter circle forward 2 and have it be like an innocent thing. It's like,
no, yeah.
Oh, you teabag.
I know, yeah. I think people just need to, I don't know.
Relax.
People need to just relax in general.
Majeka. I could switch characters.
I need to beat this guy first.
Oh.
It's not gonna happen yet. I don't know.
Oh, I was zigging and zagging. The Ken flow was just blocked. Vetoed the pipeline. Oh, you stood.
Nice.
Single hit confirmed.
I waited for one block and I was gonna shuriken right through the next thing, but that was a bad idea.
Ah, he knew. Sniffed out my weakness. Oh, you think Tick throws on your ass? Yes!
Nice. So, when did you go to MagFest? Was it like in the last few years, or?
That was like right before it was explosively popular. Like it was when Yuzo Koshiro was he did a panel, and I asked him like which Streets of Rage game was his favorite, and then he incorrectly answered Streets of Rage 2.
Oh.
He wasn't. No, did you attend? That's like I've learned very quickly. Never ever ask like for the consent of like, because those questions aren't about what they like. They're about affirming what you like. So it's like, did you know that I know that you really like Streets of Rage 1? And he's like, no, he didn't.
Right.
He's like, he turned the Yoni way. So, but that was good because I went to his rave that he DJ'd at where he had nerves and he used like a pre-recorded set or something, or from the sound. Well, no, I think he did it because he clearly had trouble on some track transitions, but it was still awesome. I'm trying to do multiple shorts. Oh no, he did Red Fireball. But there was a tournament for Alpha 2, and I had been playing online on GGPO. I want to say this is around 2012. Man, swoops him. That was a good whip on him. But this was around 2012, and like when you play like online Alpha 2, like you run into like all the like just ridiculous kind of like, you better learn how to survive or I'll kill you if you're dead.
Right.
So like I really got put through the ringer. So like I went offline. This is subsequently the game where I learned about footsies as well, was Alpha 2. Because like the thing about like Super Turbo is that it's not that it doesn't have footsies, it's that they're not bad specials. Like, special moves aren't terrible in this game. They're not watered down so that you can, like, emphasize that part of the game. Clearly those moments happen, but they're not the focalizer. Projectiles and, like, really useful specials, almost degenerate to a sense to some people. Like, they're the things that you see a lot. And not a lot of games are brave enough to do that, but the style of fighting is also different. And the thing that a lot of people like omit from like I guess the history of this stuff is that Virtua Fighter 2 and Tekken, Virtua Fighter 2 in particular, it really usurped in Japan. Like Garo, wow, I thought I was you for a second, I'm gonna be honest. But Garo Special, like it, Fatal Fury Special, it really began to make players in Japan care about game balance. So much so that Garo Densetsu 3, it killed Fatal Fury. He knew, he could smell it. I'm just bad. But because that has its own history. and apparently like the Yakuza got involved and stuff.
Oh my god.
But I mean, SNK had always been involved with them.
I think a lot of Japanese businesses are.
Yeah.
Like just when you get big enough, you're like in with the Yakuza.
Yeah. And honestly, that's just business in general.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yes.
Damn it.
Tie in. Salty Ryu. Look at that. Salty Ryu. But
He is salty.
But no. So one of the game designers, the head balance guy, he left and he made sure to put in a lot of things that would sabotage the game. Like for instance, and I think he actually works at SNK proper again. No, you're not supposed to be.
Yeah.
No, you gotta jump medium punch there. You gotta jump medium punch.
After the super.
Yeah, it'll juggle. But
Should have
where will I find the one who can defeat me? But no, like Terry has an infinite using crack shoot, and you can combo the starters, like the components of the combo or how you start it. So crouch fierce or crouch hard punch rather into crack shoot times N. It just links into itself. So kind of like Fei Long's chicken wing, but more degenerate, more no escape, more you want to stop playing this game. And the thing is that the game has like a ton of popularity. It's just like you can't. What good is a game that isn't balanced?
Right.
At least in a certain sense, like that. But Virtua Fighter, like it made people like it was the antithesis of this. Like a lot of people see like karate guys and wrestlers, and they're like, "Yo, where's the contact? Where's the fighting?" What we're doing is like this is a different type of fantasy entirely, a different type of fighting, like where it's like in Dragon Ball, like original Dragon Ball, you would run into stuff where like a strategy or a move would have to be figured out, like Tien Shinhan like splitting into like multiple people.
Right.
Like, that is the type of fighting that is the type of fighting that this is sort of inspired by. And I would never ask the guy, I would never ask Nin Akira or Akira Nishitani, I would never ask him, like, is that what you were thinking? It's that all these, like, he would talk about, like people would bring up the movie that inspired Dulcin, but the fighting, like, you have to figure out how to get around a Hadoken. The same way that, like, you know, some character would need to figure out, like, Yu Yu Hakusho or something. You would have to figure out, how do I get around this technique? This Hisatsu was like, what the? You're not supposed to do that. I'm gonna stop jumping one day.
Oh shit.
No!
Damn it. I press a fucking button. I'm so stupid.
I was gonna just see this and roll their eyes. You spamming uppercuts. I am. You're not wrong. Oh, you threw me. I don't get it. But, no, so when you get to Virtua Fighter, to get back to that note, it's that you see a style of fighting, and Yu Suzuki, this is why he's a fucking genius. Like, he was inspired by, like, Drunken Master, all these wuxia, like, actual martial arts films, and he's like, I want to create a style of fighting that's about this. And, you know, he's making all of his guys, like, do, like, martial arts, like, kung fu, warm up, and all that. Wow. Feel the turn. Stop it. Oh man, come on.
I did it.
No. But but that style of fighting is very different. Like we're talking about something that is more of a mimesis of like these actual like martial arts movies, like actual martial arts. Like it's very clear that certain styles like Jeet Kune Do and whatnot. If you ever hear a Virtua Fighter player like talk about like what's frustrating in that game, it's not like Tekken, it's not like Street Fighter. Because Tekken, you know, I brought up Tekken, but Tekken is still like footsies as people understand it. Like wait for the person to hang themselves. In Virtua Fighter, like yes, that exists, but if you try to do that to somebody, like if you try to like laying them out. Virtua Fighter is like very aggressive. Like you can like guard break people into forcing them into mash. And that's the thing. Like this is a very polished version of Street Fighter 2, and it's kind of infamous for like not being as popular, but then becoming popular after the fact. But let's ignore that. Like
yeah. No.
Yes, but this is basically like the apex of like the Street Fighter 2 era, I would say. Like, and it's the game that kind of represents the transition to like Street Fighter not really being as influential, but being a brand. But in terms of gameplay, it was beginning to like try to copy like what was popular. And the thing is, like, you could even view like Alpha 3 as like the prequel, not to Street Fighter 2, but the prequel to fucking Third Strike or Street Fighter 3, as we would know it. Terra Fireball, yes. Nowhere. Ah, links. So basically, it's like this style of fighting. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, you just gotta adapt. Like they start pulling out those like fancy buzzwords. I'm like, yes, but like the person's not necessarily upset because of they're just bad or whatever. I mean, maybe that's so. Like maybe. There's an arrogance, but ignoring that, it's like you see a wrestler and a karate guy, and it's like you see a wrestler and a karate man, and it's like you're expecting like fisticuffs or like brawl, not abstract rock throwing.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So the style of fighting is like much different than that era, and people try to conflate the two. They try to see it as progression. Like it's not necessarily progression. There are progressions, but one, we can't assume mastery of like what was being designed, and the other thing is that wow, that was not a good trade. But the other thing is that you can't draw a straight line from like games of that era. Like some of them copied Street Fighter 2, but they would become like way more influential than they would seem. Got charged. Let's see. But no, it's basically that like contact fighting is kind of. It's subsumed the genre, and you're running into like differences in it, but they're all basically trying to be that concept in other ways, or it's like you run into characters that are just anachronisms. Oh, never mind. Do it. Ah, jab. I was trying to check the. You press jab and you see if they block. He didn't. He was already. I've seen that. I've seen that. It didn't matter though. I still got knocked down. Into my loving arm. But it's like this emphasizes different things, and it's a completely different style of fighting. It's not even the same like inspiration. So you see all these people like, oh, do we need motions in fighting? It's like that's not really. Like, this isn't balanced around that. So the motions are actually like you need to give it some credit that it takes an adequate amount of skill to do like a reversal in this game.
Yeah.
But when you start trying to do like footsies, or you start trying to play the game as if like the only good option is like a button, like a normal, like you're not going to have the same experience. Guys, I hate you. I mean, but yeah. So the conflation, it's just like we're just consumers in that sense, and I'm kind of glad that there are people that developed emulation, like they've progressed at least being able to play this. Yeah, I'm gonna eat shit all day. block that, you just hit fierce, but I can pick someone else.
Finally.
Finally.
Got ketchup on his face.
Ketchup. That's not ketchup. What are you talking about? But no. So like I really like fighting games, but it's kind of frustrating because like it is pretty cool to see someone be able to break down like character balance. But that's not necessarily the be all end all. Like competition isn't the only lens that we have to use to look at this stuff.
Right.
It's like I played with these things in mind, but what's funny is that for all intents and purposes, like I should be bad at these games. Like in the eyes of like people that are like, you look at the story, blah 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 blah. I've competed, I've done that before. Now, I will say that the people that have advantages like that only focus on the game, yes, they'll be better, and there are things like training mode I never picked up on in terms of like, it's not to look down on it. I think those people understand the game in a way that's like fundamentally better than I ever will. But it's also possible to just like play this, think about strategy, and engage the rest of the game, which is something that you don't see people do. Like there was a video I saw that was like Valfil or whatever. He's like why Sean is like horrible balance, and I'm like, but there was a point to that. And he kind of acknowledged it, but then the caveat was like, well, the developers didn't know how popular that Third Strike was going to be, and I'm like, I don't know. Like you don't make decisions like that. You don't make a decision to make a character bad. Like, I do think it's bad balance, but not because, like, oh, we lapsed in judgment. It's like, you guys felt this would be okay. And they chose that, and it's like, the reason is because, like, it was more than balance. Like, there was more going on there. There was more going on to that decision than just like, momentary lapse of popularity. Third Strike failed in the eyes of Capcom, so that's why I say it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know you were trying to say
I think I was just because I hear people say that sometimes, like, oh, he was just designed to be bad. Like, they just made this character bad because he's supposed to be bad, like Dan or whoever, you know. But really, like, I don't think anyone's like, all right, this character's gonna be shit, you know?
Yeah. Like, I think he's markedly worse from Second Impact just because of the way that game was. Like, it's like he had to be reeled in.
Yeah. Nice.
So the one piece of advice I can give is just be as lame as possible and wait for him to commit to something you can knock him down for.
Okay.
And your headbutt will always beat his reversal. Oh god, hold on. Oh, there you go. Okay. Actually, just take that round. I stopped before. Okay. So basically, it's like I've looked at Street Fighter, and it's like these characters are clearly an allegory for like competition. And that's what I think is interesting about it. It's not about like magic or whatever. It's not about like, oh yeah, like, wow, I crossed up. Holy crap! It's not like, oh, like vampire, like monsters that do wuxia, which is not. It's not bad. It's just like people like. It's like we've lost the ability to engage with something of just a little more close to reality, and this is still far removed. Like this is still a fantasy, but then it's like you get even more crazy. And it's fine, but then it's like, well, don't start like casting stones about it. Jesus.
Right. She got a real problem against that.
Yeah, you have to like do some weird like Kara cancel off of like a crowd. She has options though. Like I'm not a good Chun player.
Maybe this. Like
yeah. Just remember he does have counters to that, but that's still really good. He still has to work harder. Like Like everyone else, it's like Faye has to work harder to beat Shun. I was trying to chicken wing and he knew!
I know.
Yeah, but it gets silly because like Serlin would get off on a match like this. He was like,
oh yeah, for sure. Nope.
Oh, please. Please. Surprised I can still do these loops a bit. Like, that's really hard. Like, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
I think the cancel is a little easier, but the motion is still like down diagonal. Oh. No. No. So it's like I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, but it's like there have been like really cool insights into like this, but it's like, do motions have to be this way? I'm like, no one. There was no shared document. Everyone was in competition at that time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, that's not how capitalism works. It's like you're not cooperating.
That was weird.
So it's like motions, inputs, it's like those things, like you would have to judge them by case and then compare them. Yeah.
God.
I'm gonna share a secret with you.
What's that?
That was supposed to be an overhead, but not the overhead that came out.
Oh, the
other one, the chicken wing.
Yeah, the good one.
Because that move is airborne, along with the forward hard kick, that's what makes it hard to do this move.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that kind of makes sense, I guess.
Because he's already left the ground.
Yeah.
This is the secret. You gotta know how to, like, neutral jump. This fight is terrifying, like, at a certain level. But it's like, Ryu can win. Like, Ryu plays... It's still good for him, but it's like... Fei Long is kind of... It's like Blanca. It's very much a test of skill. Nice. Yeah. I think Alpha 3 in particular is a game that we should switch to Alpha 3 soon, but I don't like it as much as like other Street Fighter games, but I think it's interesting because I like it for what it tries to do. Like it shoots for the stars, if you will. And not a lot of games are that ambitious. Like even if it's still cartoony and very juvenile, like who gives a shit about the allegory if it's like a bunch of cartoon characters, but regardless, it's still better than like Overwatch, where it's just like, oh yeah, like Tracer is a lesbian, and like, oh, okay, yes, but what does that have to do with the psychology of what you're doing? It's just kind of like affirmation for yourself. You don't need that. You can like yourself. But in this game, it's like it's kind of like the Cronenberg movie, I believe it was, or was it Carpenter? It starts Sam Neill. Like the ending is in a movie theater.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say like Murder at something.
I think it's In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, In the Mouth of Madness. So In the Mouth of Madness, the big allegory there at the end is like, oh, this is you. Like Sam Neill's character is like insisting that like I tried to DP, so I deserve that. He's insisting that like this isn't real, blah blah blah, and then the joke is that it's real, but what is real? And it's just like, oh, our lives look like these stupid films, like we're just kind of in a fever dream. So that's what makes Street Fighter 2 story, or at least not Street Fighter 2, but like the various interpretations of Street Fighter. There's always this like escalation right till you get to like the just candid psychology of what's going on. And that is really, really interesting to me.
Yeah.
It's like Guilty Gear, yes, plot, blah, 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 but I'm like, why is Ryu, like, get pissed about losing? Like, that sort of thing. No one's discussing that, because it's like, you have to look at yourself for, like, being childish in a moment. It's like LTG is being channeled in that moment, and you would be like, yeah, Ryu tries and blah, 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 but it's like, it paints him as an everyman in the sense of, like, getting mad. And it's like, oh yeah, we just need to be healthier about getting angry. I'm like, I don't think that's necessarily it. Like, good horror, good like psychology to me is just like confronting things like that, where it's like, how do you reconcile these things? Like, those two things are like contradictions, and you think about that, like not everyone shares that experience. You uppercut my arms. Why? I'm the best. Oh, the red one. Man, Reese fireballs are... I just really like how good they are here. That is totally unsafe. I could have died for it. I'm glad I didn't. I don't know. I don't know if DP would win. I know if you can get above him. I don't know enough to tell you how to do him. Being like,
okay,
it's just like a rolling face. I watched Hanashi play Fei Long one time. Like, let's do half the shit and then just win off of like a lack of knowledge. This isn't airtight. Yeah, there you go. Look, I blocked it though. I was a god until I refused to block well. Oh, what? Yeah, the punish. Oh, my feet are... So, there are fighting games that have like interesting stories that aren't allegories. Like, I think Art of Fighting 2 is one such story. But it's like, why would you talk about those things if they don't contain like your esports, like the part of the game that you like?
Right.
And again, like, I feel like looking at it as a game, talking about how to play it, that's all fine. It's just like, if you start talking about like, should the moves look this way? It's like, you don't know why the moves are that way to begin with. You don't view that error as like legitimate design. You just pretend to, or you don't care about it, which is fine. Just like, be honest about that. Oh yeah, the back of his foot. Oh man. Because I don't know, that like the way that I sound there though, it's like I care about this stuff, but it doesn't matter. Like, you can just really be here for the game. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you deign to explain to people like what this stuff means, it's like you don't even address the fact that this is a currency exchanger, and it's designed to make money.
Yeah.
So it's not to view it cynically, it's that you have to have like a real sense of like why anything works the way it does. Like, I think that a lot of the fondness for Street Fighter 2 is because it was ported to the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of that,
it was huge.
Exactly. And Nintendo worked with Capcom on that. Like, they did, it was all an exclusivity deal. Why did I jump away? Why? Alright, the only thing I could say is, like, view the sweep like, what was it, Memento. Don't believe its lies. Like, it's like, don't throw the sweep out. Like, Faye wants you to hang yourself.
Okay.
Wants you to do like, if you Kara cancel on a fireball, sure, but it's like, a lot of it is just weathering the storm until he does like a Rekka string, and then you have to force him to guess. Like, let the pressure end. Like, if you block 2 Rekkas, like, everything after that is mostly an okie doke.
Okay.
Nice. Oh. I mean, no, that was the wrong answer.
That was bad.
Oh, excitement! Oh man, I did that move too. Like, oh.
Oh, come on.
Oh, why did I tell him that? There you go, red bar. I think air tatsu, like approach to air tatsu, like you can get behind him. Like there's a technique to doing it, but yeah, there you go. Oh, choo punch! I didn't want to catch that train. That's not the train I want to be on. Oh, I'm down.
God.
I thought I could throw it off.
Look at that. Let's do it. Nice. Holy shit. That's awesome.
Oh my god, don't lose. Not after such a good play. Oh, damn. Alright, so I have to always throw this in because some folks don't listen. It's not anything you did, it's just like, I'm gonna say this, I think I told you guys this about DJ. DJ is a JoJo's character. I will allow you, God. I want you to try to wager a guess. Like, you'll know it when you see it. And if I do it and I don't hear anything, then it's like, I'll just assume that it's not as, but I swear I've told you before, but it's like, I'm gonna assume that it's not as obvious as it seems. I probably can't land it in this corner. This shit is legitimately hard.
Oops.
Oh, it's bad. I super. It's okay. But I think Ryu ultimately has the advantage in this fight. Is the funny thing? It's just that learning it is hard if you die for making a certain decision.
Right.
Oh, it's so fast. That is tricky. What? Should have just let it go. Just wait for the DP. Victory has defeated you.
True. Push.
I didn't know what side I was going to be on.
Nope.
The trick. It was deceit. I haven't done it yet. When we leave Jamaica, we leave the world of Super Turbo.
Okay.
Right. So it's like I gotta get something else in. But no, like this game is kind of cool for inputs. Like that's what I want to talk about. It's like, are inputs necessary? It's like it's a very different thing. Ah. Sees through my day one guile. Oh, I called you. I called you on it. Dominance.
Yeah, I didn't know I have a plan there. I'll be honest.
The plan is the fireball.
I guess that's it. Yeah.
Oh, it's so fast. On fire.
Nice.
I did the safe confirm there, so I still can't get to what I was talking about. No, stay as Ryu. Please stay as Ryu. Because like I can't really do it to boxer well because I haven't practiced, and Chun-Li is like it doesn't look as cool because you have to her hitbox is so jank. It's like no, pick the one I can win with. Like
Hey, I'll humor you.
I was gonna be a god, a DJ god there. I don't know how they do it so consistently.
Nice.
Like DJ is actually hated in Japan. He's considered easy to use, and he is. But you have to get certain things down first, and a lot of it came down to like the environment, like the equipment isn't even as good, like to perform it. I think it's kind of prohibitively difficult to do on American parts, American arcade stick and buttons.
Yeah,
I don't think you're gonna let me cross you up, so like we'll just see. Try to see if we got round off error. Oh, 38. Yep, we do. I only know that because of a friend of mine that's he was in computer programming at Ohio State.
Huh?
Oh, why am I such a fuck up?
That was it.
Admittedly, I haven't done this in a competitive setting, or casual or not, in a long time. It's not hard to do though, like you'd be amazed. So jump behind him with a Tatsu. It's actually pretty good. He has a really hard time dealing with it. I have one more chance. Of the many I've blown. What are you talking about? I guess I have to do the footage myself. Not even, I won't even mention it. It's like, oh, you got opinions, right? You fucking scrub. You fucking scrub. I'm still the daddy. Oh, you fucking
Oh,
DJs. Yeah, fucking DJ players. You fucking scrub. All they try to do is touch a death beat. It's not solid like SF5 Guile. The other thing I want to say is that DJ is supposed to be a capoeira fighter, but that's why there's even more of a disparity, because it's like the only fighting that even remotely actually resembles capoeira fighting, even in a fantastic sense, is Elena.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. He knows that he can smell that I'm desperate. That was it! Oh, man.
Fuck.
So, I guess I could say, if that lands, that does like a super's worth of damage and probably stuns, depending. So if you get hit by that, you die. Now,
right.
Who in popular culture as like, what is the thing that people keep saying Street Fighter characters are like inspired by? Like damn near one for one at times. Like Guile's hair, fucking Rose.
Right.
It's like, oh, JoJo's. So fucking DJ is a JoJo character, but you only know that through like the inputs. So if you're just like, is this hard to do? Is it hard or easy? You completely remove that from the conversation. that it's like the strategy of the game, the flavor is expressed in a way where the flavor does mean something, because when you get to how it's expressed, like when you thought about it and the designer's like, but we have to make this like not just be like artless. It's like they're gonna tell you that some white dude in America like designed this character, and he did, but how does he fight? Like, what is Machine Gun Upper supposed to be? And he even does his, like, you know, like all the JoJo characters, like, he's like, da-da-da-da, like, you know,
Yeah.
he even has that, like, mannerism to it. It's like, our fighting game moves hard or easy. I'm like, that's, you know, that's not the point right now. Oh, I saw that. Oh, no, he hit me in the dick. There's so many people trying to do that to me.
Don't fuck it. Try to jump.
Like, they have some other lore bits. Like, they're like, oh, DJ, like, he takes after, like, Guile and Chun-Li. Like, that's why he has up kicks. And, like, he can actually do the Sonic Boom right. Like, he can do it with one hand. Guile has to use two, so he's technically the more, like, adept fighter just from looking. Just, like, the point. But, the JoJo thing is what's big to me, because it's like, because you don't see that you don't die for getting hit by a Machine Gun Upper in other Street Fighter games. Like, like it's like, it does 250 damage out of like a 1,000 health pool. It's like, oh, that's not as cool as like if I landed on you and I do a glissando on the fucking arcade controller, you die.
Right, yeah. Shit.
Like, how well I perform it makes it safe. Like, if you do it wrong, it's not good. Like, you know, that's what I mean. And you run into that, like, later on. Like, that's what I think Alpha 3 was really good at. Like, the narrative, the lore. I'm like, yes, but it's specifically how it's expressed. No, he's got me in a twister.
The vortex.
It really can be for DJ. No, don't do that! Yes! I should be dead. Like, I'm not close enough. Oh, you have to be good. Shame. So, like, you see all these, like, little lore bits, but it's the stuff that you find, like, in the gameplay and, like, the images it creates, like, the inputs, like, all of that is, like, really cool. Like, so even though there are a lot of ways I think Alpha 3 isn't as well designed. Like, there's a lot of ways I think this game has good balance, but it's not as fun for most people to play as, like, Street Fighter 2, because the computer is a degeneracy in terms of forcing you to make, like, big assumptions about how to beat them. Like, you have to know about manipulation, and that's something most people don't know how to do. Like, they see it as cheating. And I think it's specifically because there's no leeway or flexibility. You have to do this very specific thing to beat most characters in this game. And that's well before you get to how hard that character is to use.
Right.
In ST, it's like, things that were simple in Street Fighter 2, they're agonizing. Like, if you have to actually know how to use your character. Ooh. That was a Bare MGU. Ah, man, why? Why am I mad? It comes out to the block string. Oh, now, dab!
Nope.
Yeah, but I used to read, like, Shoryuken. Like, that was when I was young, and, like, that stuff, like, the stuff that Seth Killian and whatnot wrote, Serlin, but specifically just, like, forum chat in general, like, you're talking about people that are, like, hentai addicts or whatever, and obviously, like, if you're in there, like, there's a reason I can say that, but it's just, like, you kind of grow the fuck up. But that notwithstanding, it's like, these are all guys that have, like, been to EVO. They've competed, and it's intimidating because you don't even know if they're good or not if you've never done this. It's like, the theatricality and deception. Oh. So it's like sort of being uninitiated, and I don't even know if it's a good thing to be, but you know, competition isn't going anywhere, and like this is kind of harmless. Otherwise, it's like, oh no, what alternatives to vices are the present moment offering? So that kind of implying something. I was really intimidated, but then the other thing is that these guys like only really understand like a very specific era of fighting, and it was to create a spectator. Like,
Yeah.
and it's that like this game is very different. Like when you're playing it, it's stressful to play ST, and it's a game of skill. So balance isn't. It's not a clean operating term to like start talking about. It's not something that. It's not something where you, like it's. I've had to learn that like you're not gonna like what you lose to sometimes. It doesn't make the game bad. It makes it frustrating, but it was where people, you know, to be competitive, you have to be able to cast that aside. And a lot of people, it's like you're playing with that. You're not actually competitive. You don't actually like fighting games. And I can say that because it's like I've had to learn that I do like fighting games, but I had to kind of define what I even liked about them. And in a lot of ways, those things are anachronisms now. Like, they're not relevant. Like, you're gonna walk up and someone's gonna be like, you're the Sonic Boomer that likes fucking Street Fighter. I'm like, yeah, that's true. Because, like, think about Street Fighter now. It's, like, fucking irrelevant because of, like, how garbage the experience is. Oh, that's pretty good. I'm just gonna say, that was pretty nice. That wasn't, though. And now I lose all kudos. No! So close fierce in those moments, like just close standing fierce. But I don't know, like that time scared me, and I felt like it really made me a worse person, like playing to win. Not because because you can't just say like, oh yeah, you have to be willing to accept defeat. It's like, but you're not explaining the game, you're explaining theory, which is there's nothing wrong with theory, but then it's just like, I feel like you would be a much happier person, and it's like, you don't know what's creating that anger in people. Like, you're assuming that it's like, oh, they don't like fireballs, and it's like, motherfucker, this can cost like $1, like 50 cents to play. Like,
Right.
You're losing money. And if you lost money, and it was on a presumption of the design of the game, like, yes, don't hate the player, hate the game, but it's like, you're taking advantage of people's inability to articulate that. Yes, you can laugh at them. Like, yes, you can do that stuff. It's kind of silly. It's a fucking game. It's a scam. But you're kind of gonna make it harder to get to the comedy if you're like obfuscating that into mysticism. Thank you, Davidson. I didn't even need it. I was trying to do the harder stuff. Oh, you caught the train to Painville. But no, it's like those things are still fascinating to me because we really taught ourselves to trust in people that didn't really understand the game either, but they definitely, it's not to take away from the aspects they like. Seth Killian is probably well read, but it's like he's fucking marketing for Capcom. He's like telling you like, yeah, the focus attack is easier to understand than like parry. I'm like, no, it's not. Have you ever like, do you know what focus attack is for? Like, imagine like explaining like a dash buffer. Like, parry is tapping forward or down. Yes, it gets a bit abstract, but this is way different than having to use a move that is non-standard. It has like multiple outcomes depending and uses depending on the character. All right, we should pick something else. But it specifically him, it's like he's viewed as like this competitive genius. And oh, I'm in the Alpha 3 room as well. But
okay, let me jump in.
Again, it's not to take away from the fact that he did tell people not to do stupid things, but
yeah,
it's kind of like this thing that lays in the background. Like the stupid story of this game. It's just kind of ironic that he's telling people like revenge is a dish best served cold. I think that was in his like Domination 101 thing, and I'm like, the story of Street Fighter, like one of the arcs is like a guy gets hit with a move, gets really angry about it, and then he learns to do it. So it's like there's a genuine psychology there. It's like you're not always like calm and collected.
Right.
Oh yeah, I'm player 2. Yes, Uni! So it's something where, like, when you combine that with, like, oh, play to win, the reason, because it's like, well, what's your grievance? And it's like, well, you don't even know how to fucking have fun first. It's like you're assuming that people, like, are there for the same reason. So when you're creating the spectator, you're just creating, like, an elitist that doesn't even know how to enjoy themselves.